They came from outer space, or more accurately, the astral sea. These space cockroaches colonize stars, traveling from world to world in search of adventures. The official description of these bug-like monstrosities in D&D 5e, similar to other races in Spelljammer, like our previously covered plasmoids, unfortunately is a little lacking. The official Thri Kreen racial features state that they are insectile and have two pairs of arms. Their bodies are encased in protective chitin. They can alter the color of their carapace to blend in with their natural surroundings. Although the Thri Kreen don't sleep, they do require periods of inactivity to revitalize themselves, and during these periods, they are fully aware of what's happening around them. Thri Kreen speak by clacking their mandibles and waving their antennae, indicating to other Thri Kreen what they are thinking and feeling. Other creatures find this method of communication difficult to interpret and impossible to duplicate, due to the obvious lacking of both mandibles and antennae. To interact with other folk, Thri Kreen rely on a form of telepathy. And that's all we're really told about these little guys from Spelljammer. So let's take a look back at the Forgotten Realms to get a little more insight into them. Here we learn that the Thri Kreen were an ancient race, predating the races of both humans and mind flayers by millions of years. They're bipedal and stand roughly 4.5 to 7 feet high and weigh anywhere from 100 to 375 pounds, with a full grown adult averaging at least 6 feet and 200 pounds. The Thri Kreen were short lived. If they survived their harsh lives, they could be considered an adult at about 5 to 6 summers, middle aged at about 12 to 16, old by 18 to 20, and truly vulnerable at 25. No Thri Kreen lived past 35 by natural means. Thri Kreen had no clear or definable personalities as humans would know them. No emotions could be discerned through their insectoid faces or their patterns of behavior, though rapid twitching of their antennae or mandibles would indicate agitation. And with that, we now have actually a little bit more description of the Thri Kreen as opposed to the entirely generic description from Wizards of the Coast that they've switched to for a lot of their more recently released races. So with that, let's now take a look at the Thri Kreen's traits. Thri Kreens are a monstrosity. They're either medium or small, and you choose when you're building your character. No matter what size you pick, they have a walking speed of 30 feet, and, like most creatures released nowadays, they have dark vision. They also have their chameleon carapace, meaning when they aren't wearing armor, they have a base armor class of 13 plus their dex modifier. And, as an action, they can change the color and texture of their carapace to match their surroundings, giving them advantage on stealth checks. Additionally, they are sleepless. They do not require sleep and can remain conscious during an entire long rest, though they have to refrain from strenuous activity to gain the benefit of that rest. They also have telepathy. Thri Kreen telepathy, without the assistance of magic, does not allow them to speak normal languages. Instead, they use telepathy to convey their thoughts. You have magical ability to transmit your thoughts mentally to any willing creature you can see within 120 feet of you. A contacted creature doesn't need to share a language with you to understand your thoughts, but it does need to understand at least one language. And now for the Thri Kreen's defining feature, their secondary arms. You have two slightly smaller secondary arms below your primary pair of arms. The secondary arms can manipulate an object, open or close a door or a container, pick up or set down a tiny object, and, most impressively, wield a weapon that has the light property. Now, if you ask me, the Thri Kreen have such a unique combination of traits that they can be useful in a large variety of situations. But like the Grung and Plasmoids we covered previously, the Thri Kreen don't seem to get a lot of love. For example, their chameleon carapace and telepathy can make them effective rogues, as they can change their skin color to gain advantage on stealth checks, and they don't have to speak out loud to communicate with any of their co-conspirators. Additionally, their secondary arms make them very versatile martial characters. You can wield a two-handed weapon in your main hands, and then wield two light weapons in your secondary hands. Or you can have a bow in your main hands, and two short swords in your secondary hands. Or you can have a two-handed weapon in your main hands, and a crossbow in your secondary hand. Or a shield in one hand, a long sword in the other, and two daggers in your secondary arms. Or, if your DM allows for this last one, you can wield a shield in each of your main hands while simultaneously dual wielding short swords in your secondary hands. You're basically a walking armory. And then for good measure, we can't forget to mention that similar to their Spelljammer mates, the Plasmoid, which we previously covered, and the Autonome, which we'll cover at a later date, The Thri Kreen is one of a very small number of official races that are not humanoid at all. They are a monstrosity, meaning that they're immune to anything targeting humanoids, such as hold person. All of this adds up to a very unique playing experience that I would encourage more of y'all to try if you're interested. And with that, we'll end our video here on the Thri Kreen. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and be sure to come back for our next video.